When Attack on Titan first aired in 2013, it quickly became a hit sensation, earning the title of best-selling anime in 2013, as well as currently being the most popular anime on my anime list. Its popularity didn't stop that year. As it continued to air for years to come, it retained its popularity and created multiple merchandising opportunities, from action figures to theme park rides. There was Attack on Titan everything, including video games. The first of 2 home console games, aptly named Attack on Titan, was a solid first shot at an Attack on Titan game, but left a lot to be desired. So, let's take a closer look into Attack on Titan to see what I'm talking about. Attack on Titan was first revealed at Gamescom on August 5th, 2015 as Attack on Titan (working title). It was not a working title. Now, to be fair, it did receive the name Attack on Titan Wings of Freedom in PAL regions, but officially, it's named Attack on Titan. Despite no gameplay being revealed, fans were still hyped for this game, as the only other Attack on Titan game out at the time was Attack on Titan Humanity in Chains, which was a poorly received 3DS exclusive. This trailer did, however, reveal that the game would be published by Koei Tecmo and developed by Omega Force, the publisher and developer behind the Warriors series, suggesting that Attack on Titan could be a Musou-type game. The first gameplay trailer dropped on November 6th, 2015, and didn't reveal much. It showed some small glimpses of what to expect from the final game, including the movement and Titan combat, and it all looked pretty good. Nevertheless, the game launched first in Japan on February 18th, 2016, on PS4, PS3, and PS Vita. The game was officially announced to be coming to the West on April 7th, 2016, slated to release in PAL regions first on August 26th, 2016, with North America following behind on August 30th, 2016. This Western announcement came along with the reveal that the game would also be launching on Xbox One and PC via Steam, along with the original launch platforms. Attack on Titan officially launched in North America on August 30th, 2016. Attack on Titan received generally positive reviews. It currently sits at a 74 critic score and 7 user score on Metacritic. And despite a very positive score on Steam, the game garnered 1,572 players in its launch month before dropping to 299 players the following month according to Steam charts. But this drop-off may just be a PC-specific issue, which I'll elaborate on later. Looking at the sales side of things, Attack on Titan sold 150,682 copies in its first week in Japan, and as of 2017, the game had sold 350,000 copies in the West specifically, and over 700,000 copies in total worldwide. Things seem to be going pretty well for Attack on Titan. It received generally positive reviews and some pretty good sales figures. But after I took it for a swing, it had a lot of potential, but could definitely be improved upon in multiple different places. Let's take a closer look into the game to see what I'm talking about. Attack on Titan is similar to a Musou game. For those that don't know what that means, the term Musou is derived from the Warriors series of games published by Koei Tecmo. They're hack and slash games, but they focus on large-scale battles and defeating countless enemies in a single fight. Multiple licensed Musou games have been released over the years, some falling directly under the Warriors line, such as Hyrule Warriors and One Piece Pirate Warriors, whereas others stand as their own spin-offs, like Berserk and the Band of the Hawk, and Persona 5 Strikers. However, there is a debate over whether Attack on Titan even fits either of those categories to begin with. It clearly isn't a Warriors game, but it's also much more unique than the other Warriors spin-offs, and all of that has to do with the combat. The general movement and combat of Attack on Titan is completely different from all other Warrior games. While most Warrior and Musou games will see you on the ground mowing through hordes of enemies, Attack on Titan equips you with ODM gear, allowing you to fly through the map killing titans. So let's discuss how the ODM gear functions in-game. You have one main button that allows you to shoot out 2 hooks, which automatically target the nearest buildings or structures. If you're in an open area with no points to hook onto, then it simply won't work. Once you've hooked onto something, you're able to move and swing around. You're also able to use gas to boost yourself in midair, both while you're hooked and not hooked. However, there is a gas meter which will deplete the more you boost, and once you're out, you'll need to refuel. And if you're not in midair, then you can simply jump. Moving away from movement, let's talk about combat. You're able to attack normally on the ground, but if you want to actually do anything, you need to enter combat mode. While in combat mode, you're able to target different parts of a Titan, allowing you to hook onto the selected body part. Once hooked, you can swing around or boost directly towards them, and with a properly timed button press, you can attack, either chopping off the targeted limb entirely, simply dealing damage to the target area, or killing the Titan. But of course, the kill can only happen if you've targeted and hit the nape. And that's it for the controls. It may seem simple, but it does take some time to learn and get used to. And even once you do get used to it, it's not perfect. There are countless times where the hooks would just send me straight into a wall, or I would try to steer out of the way of a wall, and it just wouldn't let me. Luckily, it's not like you take damage from crashing, but it does still get pretty annoying. And looking past the momentary jankiness, do not even think about playing this on PC with a keyboard. This was a major point of contention with this game, the PC port. For some reason, not a lot of anime games are developed with the PC in mind, and considering this game didn't originally launch on PC in Japan, this is definitely a case of that. I play most games on PC, and I can attest, the controls are impossible on a keyboard. My biggest issue with them is that you can't control your camera with the mouse. You have to use keys, which is just ridiculous. So instead, I opted to use a Xbox controller, but they really didn't try at all with the PC port for this game. Anyways, comparing Attack on Titan's combat to a standard Warriors game combat immediately shows the blatant differences. However, the rest of the gameplay and how battles function are very reminiscent of Musou games. In battle, there are multiple teammates spread across the battlefield that will fight Titans independently. You can also ask up to 4 soldiers to join you, giving you the ability to dish out simple commands. In addition to a stage's main objective, there are also temporary side objectives that, on completion, you'll get a bonus, usually supplies or another ally to hire. Speaking of supplies, like I mentioned before, you can run out of gas, and you can also run out of blades, both of which will need to be refueled. NPCs will occasionally spawn on the map who can resupply you, or, like I previously mentioned, completing side objectives can grant supplies as well. I do like these meters because they add a level of strategy and resource management to the game while also staying faithful to the source material. I honestly really like the overall gameplay. Despite some Battlefield similarities, it really sets itself apart from other Musou games to the point where it transcends the genre entirely. Of course, it's not free of issues. The PC controls are practically unplayable without a controller, and the movement system is wonky sometimes and can get frustrating to use, but I would say that it works more often than not. However, my biggest issues with the game don't lie with the jankiness of its controls or the momentary glitches. It's with the lack of content. Attack on Titan has 2 main game modes: Attack Mode and Expedition Mode. Attack Mode is this game's story mode, and it covers the entire first season of the anime. There are also additional missions that, after the main story has been completed, can be played as part of an epilogue that loosely covers parts of Season 2. Attack Mode is played through multiple different missions, which can all be replayed. Most of these missions are standard battles, but there will be occasional gameplay changes, such as fighting the Colossal Titan using cannons, or fighting his Titan form Eren. Speaking of Eren, you'll play as whatever character is most relevant to the plot at the time, but if you choose to replay the mission, then you can choose any character you wish. However, there are only 10 playable characters in total, and despite the fact that they all play relatively similarly, there's still some important characters missing, like Reiner, Bertold, and Ani. In between matches, you stay at the home base, where you can buy equipment, upgrade currently owned equipment, and craft new equipment. All of these require materials that can either be bought from the home base or found as enemy drops during battle. You can also buy a horse to be used in battle. All of your equipment and weapons are shared amongst every character, and it's also shared with the Expedition Mode. Expedition Mode is the multiplayer component of this game, but can still be played single player. Despite being the multiplayer mode, you're not going to find anyone else playing this right now. Here you can go on expedition missions, which are basically just the same thing as story missions. You can also do all the same things with equipment, weapons, and horses as in attack mode. You can probably see the issue here. The light RPG elements like the materials and equipment are nice, but nothing to really delve deep into, and all the missions play pretty similarly to each other. Like I said, there are some unique experiences that break it up every now and then, like playing as a Titan, but the vast majority of the game is the exact same. Now, to be fair, I do really enjoy the gameplay. It is incredibly satisfying to fly around and slaughter Titans, but the movement and combat do get janky sometimes, and eventually it just becomes pretty repetitive. Not to mention, this game is pretty easy. The majority of the Titans kind of just stand there and let you kill them. Gameplay can only go so far, there's not much to do with said gameplay. Back on a more positive note, I do like the presentation. The graphics and art style do a great job at translating Wit's anime into a 3D game. One weird complaint I have is that the pre-rendered cutscenes look worse than the real-time rendered cutscenes. The real-time rendered cutscenes actually follow the art style, but the pre-rendered ones don't. They all look hazy and lack that harsh outline that Wit's anime and the in-game graphics have. In terms of the animations, they all look pretty solid. Nothing stands out as incredible or terrible. In terms of the UI, it's nothing special, but nothing lazy either. I do appreciate the loading screens though, as they feature short snippets of information like the anime does, which is a nice detail. I don't really have much else to say about the presentation. Attack on Titan was an interesting game. Despite selling well, it felt like a trial run to see if an Attack on Titan game like this was possible. The gameplay was innovative yet unpolished. There were light RPG elements, but very little customization. There's a story mode and multiplayer mode, but nothing much else to do. This game had serious potential. If they had polished the gameplay, built on the crafting system and RPG elements, and had more things to do to keep players engaged, then I could have seen it being an even bigger success and a much greater game than this current game that's solid at best. Well, I just got word that there's a sequel called Attack on Titan 2 that does all of that, as well as cover every bit of story that this game covered, making this game obsolete, profiting off of this game's potential, creating an instance where there is zero reason to buy this game, and making this game seem like a literal tech demo for the sequel. So if you're thinking about picking up this game to try for yourself, just don't. There's literally no reason to get this game over its sequel. Unless of course you want to make a YouTube video about it. I guess now my next video is going to be about